Good Sunday morning. I'm Carly Barnett. It is now 8 o'clock, and here's what we're working on right now. Breaking overnight, a Broward Sheriff's deputy is dead after a crash in Deerfield Beach. What we are learning about the accident right now. A man is arrested for several armed robberies and at least one sexual assault in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. This morning, why several other law enforcement agencies are interested in this suspect. And we have a safety alert. This morning, officers are searching for a man they say busted into a motel room in Hollywood. What they are saying he did when he got inside.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
It is 8 o'clock on Sunday, July 21st. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carly Barnett. First, we're going to send it over to meteorologist Jennifer Correa, who has a look at how we're starting our Sunday. Good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning, Carly. And this is how we're starting off for much of South Florida. A lot more sunshine and less rain than yesterday. A beautiful live view out of the CBS 4 camera here in Doral. So now it's becoming mostly sunny, which means temperatures warming up. It's already 82 in Miami. Still in the upper 70s for Fort Lauderdale, and then the low 80s in Key West. Key West, though, dealing with rain, that thunderstorm passing through. So it's already lifting towards the west and north from the lower Keys. There were a couple lightning strikes popping up associated with that. Meanwhile, for now, we're going to keep things quiet, but as we head into the afternoon, expect those thunderstorms. It could be over the inland areas. At the same time, it could be on the East Coast. So you want to head out to the beach, head out early. Earlier the better. We're also watching a wave that's going to bring us more rain this week.
Jennifer, thank you. We are following breaking news. This is out of Deerfield Beach, where a BSO deputy is dead after an on-duty crash. We have a live look at the scene right now. This is near Military Trail and Southwest 10th Street. The crash happened around 3 o'clock this morning. This is what it looked like shortly after. You can see a cruiser and a pickup truck with heavy damage. BSO says the deputy, who has been with BSO for about a year, was responding to a domestic call, but it's not clear whether he had lights on. The person in the other vehicle survived and was taken to the hospital. We will bring you more details just as soon as we receive them. 8:02 now. The man arrested for several armed robberies and at least one sexual assault is also the focus of investigations by at least two more law enforcement agencies. And this morning, some hotel guests say they were shocked to learn one of these attacks happened at the hotel, and they only found out by watching the news. CBS 4's Amber Diaz has been following this story since the beginning and has the latest from TGK.
26-year-old Shane Bain walked with his head down into the jailhouse just a few short hours after police picked him up. They say he's been in and out of hotels in South Florida, robbing women at gunpoint.
Our detectives have been working this all week long since this occurred.
He's accused of sexually assaulting at least one of them here at the Century Hotel on Miami Beach. Surveillance video from Wednesday shows him walking down the hallway. Police say the hotel guest seen here without a shirt heard the commotion and called hotel staff.
The woman was attacked. She was violently choked and then battered sexually inside of the hotel room.
According to the police report, he and a woman met at the beach and exchanged numbers. Soon after, she invited him to her room. When she refused him, he became, quote, very upset and angry. Then in the city of Doral, police say he met a woman at the Holiday Inn behind the Ale House off 87th Avenue, robbing her of $400.
She was watching the news last night, and I was at the gym working out, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Because, I'm just watching, but we didn't know it was this hotel.
After contacting local agencies, police learned there was more.
This same subject may be wanted for two separate armed robberies in not only the city of Doral, but also in Broward County.
Another screenshot shows him inside the Fairfield Inn off Griffin Road. Police say he robbed another woman here. Bain has a long record with similar charges dating back to 2011.
Bain is being charged with sexual battery with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. In West Miami-Dade, Amber Diaz, CBS 4 This Morning.
Now we have a CBS 4 News safety alert. This morning, officers are searching for a man they say busted into a motel room in Hollywood and robbed the person inside. Officers say the victim was hit in the head during a struggle over their wallet. This all happened Friday night along South Federal Highway. Hollywood police are looking for this suspect, who they say may have a gun. Take a look at your screen. He has a scar on his upper back and tattoos on both arms. New this morning, a man is in the hospital after he was shot in the face in Miami's Liberty City neighborhood. Miami police say this happened around 10 o'clock near Northwest 15th Avenue and 62nd Street. The victim walked a few blocks away where officers found him with a gunshot wound to the cheek. They say he was alert and taken to Ryder Trauma Center. No word this morning on his condition. 4 other people are also recovering today after a bad chain reaction crash near Northwest Miami-Dade. This all went down just before 9 last night at the intersection of Northwest 57th Avenue and 202nd Street. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue says one of the 4 cars involved is a pickup truck that flipped over. Those 4 victims were taken to Memorial West Hospital and are expected to survive. Still no word on what caused that crash. And an accused killer who was mistakenly released from Broward County Jail is waking up back behind bars this morning. 28-year-old Eric Vale was in court yesterday. He was out of jail by mistake on May 30th after some sort of mix-up with his charges. Vale was found in a trailer park in Jessup, Georgia. He barricaded himself there for 3 hours before he was finally arrested by U.S. Marshals and extradited back to the Broward County Jail. He's charged with first-degree murder. This morning, police say a burglar who climbed up buildings and broke into apartment units all around Miami Beach is also in custody. 28-year-old Terry Person is facing several charges, including burglary and grand theft. Officers say he took thousands of dollars worth of valuables, cash, and electronics from tourists on Miami Beach. Developing this morning, Britain's foreign minister says Iran is on a dangerous path after it seized an oil tanker and has summoned Iran's top diplomat. An Iranian state news agency has released a video that apparently shows troopers capturing the British-flagged ship. CBS News correspondent David Martin spoke with the top U.S. military commander for the Middle East.
We were traveling with General Frank McKenzie in Afghanistan when those 2 British tankers were seized. He told CBS News exactly what happened. The first ship was flying a British flag as it passed through the Strait of Hormuz at the mouth of the Persian Gulf.
She was fired upon, subsequently boarded, taken under Iranian custody, and is now deep in Iranian territorial waters.
The second British tanker was flying a Liberian flag.
The Iranians boarded her. We believe they searched for British persons, found none, and then eventually allowed her to continue her voyage.
3 hours later, an American flag cargo ship, the Maersk Chicago, went through the strait with what McKenzie called iron overhead, meaning F-18 jet fighters flying air cover. The Iranians left it alone. The U.S. now has destroyers stationed at either end of the strait.
Do those destroyers have orders to intervene if they see another ship hijacking?
They would only do so in the case of a U.S. flagged vessel coming under attack.
After that interview, McKenzie canceled the rest of his visit to Afghanistan and flew to Qatar on the Persian Gulf to deal with this latest incident. David Martin, CBS News, Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar.
For a look at politics here at home, be sure to join us for Facing South Florida. That's at 11:30, and Jim DeFede has more.
Good morning. Coming up at 11:30 on Facing South Florida, we are presenting a short CBS Miami documentary on how kids in South Florida feel about the detention center for migrant children in Homestead and their efforts to send those migrant kids letters.
The idea of writing letters to the kids in the detention center, did that appeal to you?
It did, because I felt like we were kids. Some of us were the same age, and look at the difference of my life versus their life. They're kids too, and yet they're being put through so much torture.
I thought, well, it's not fair, because if I'm an immigrant and I feel accepted, how come other people are being mistreated, held against their will? And so I felt it's time for a change, so I decided to write my letters.
And I decided if I couldn't be there to help them, I could at least give them some hope. And I thought by writing these letters, I could give them as much hope as I could that one day they might get out.
They're without their parents, and they don't know when they're going to see their parents, and I really can't imagine me being there.
We will also be joined by Congresswoman Donna Shalala to discuss what is happening in Washington. That's coming up at 11:30 right here on CBS. I do hope you'll join us.
In other news this morning, if you were affected by the Fort Lauderdale water main break, you still have to boil your water. Some good news is that the water service is back on and the water treatment plant is almost back to normal production levels. The damaged pipe is expected to be fixed sometime this week. 220,000 customers were affected by this break. You may remember water was shut off for several hours on Thursday. A subcontractor for FPL had damaged the line, and they have since been cited by the city. Well, happening today, there are 3 sites you can pick up free bottled water again. They opened up at 8 about 10 minutes ago, and they will stay open until 8 tonight. You can go to the Beach Community Center on Northeast 33rd Avenue, Mills Pond Park on Northwest 9th Avenue, or Riverland Park on Southwest 27th Avenue. And if you were one of the ones impacted, make sure you boil all tap water for at least 1 minute before drinking it or doing things like cooking, even brushing your teeth this morning. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, marking the 50th anniversary of the first man on the moon. Coming up next, we are in Cape Canaveral for this anniversary, meeting some of the people who made it all happen. But first,
a lot of people say that I'm crazy for dreaming so big.
South Florida is crazy for Coco, and the 15-year-old tennis superstar is back home this morning. We have her big welcome next. Welcome back. An update now on that breaking news out of Deerfield Beach this morning, where a BSO deputy is dead after an on-duty crash. We have a live look at the scene right now. What you're looking at is near Military Trail and Southwest 10th Street. The crash happened around 3 this morning, and this is what it looked like shortly after that. BSO says the deputy, who has been with the office for about a year now, was responding to a domestic call, but it's not clear whether he had his lights on. The person in the other car survived and was taken to the hospital. Now, in other news this morning, things seem to be back to normal at Universal Orlando after a big scare last night. Orlando police say officers responded to the park after someone called saying they saw a person with a rifle in the parking garage. 2 of the park's garages were shut down while the officers searched for this person, but they never found anything. In Puerto Rico this morning, more small protests are expected, but leaders say tomorrow they hope to have hundreds of thousands, maybe even 1 million people take to the streets, calling for Governor Ricardo Rosselló to resign. Yesterday, Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard was in San Juan, sharing her support.
They're saying enough is enough. I join them in calling for this governor's resignation so that they can then begin to find a leader who will truly listen to their concerns and work for their interests.
Well, Rosselló refuses to resign. He released statements on Instagram saying he's not even considering it. This morning, Cory Coco Gauff is back home here in South Florida after a remarkable run at Wimbledon. As CBS 4's Francis Wang shows us, the city of Delray Beach celebrated her homecoming at the very place where her tennis career began.
Coco Gauff was the girl on fire at Wimbledon. After an incredible run in London, this 15-year-old is happy to just be home.
I just want to first thank Delray for all the support. I saw all the videos from London.
Gathering at Pompey Park in Delray Beach until the rain forced them inside, the homecoming was hosted by the City of Delray Beach and community group Healthier Delray Beach. Mayor Shelley Petrolia promising to frame Coco's outfit from Wimbledon. While the world is crazy for Coco, she acknowledges she can be a little crazy, and that's okay.
A lot of people say that I'm crazy for dreaming so big, but I really do think that you shouldn't just reach for the sky when you can reach the stars.
In her main draw debut, Coco pulled off an upset against Venus Williams in straight sets, everyone wondering what was going on in her mind.
I really did believe that I could win that match, and a lot of people after the match were asking me, how did you feel going on the court? But going on the court, I was just like, it's another opponent, and I want to win, and I'm going to do everything that it takes to win.
It's just the beginning for the newest superstar in the tennis world. She says she still has a lot of learning to do, but expect to see more great things from Coco Gauff.
Or you can do anything that you want, and don't let anyone tell you, not even your parents, because it's okay to be crazy sometimes. Crazy is good. So I hope that I can break more records, and I definitely want to see some of you guys that I see in the crowd breaking records as well.
Francis Wang, CBS 4 This Morning.
That was Coco's last media event before she shifts her focus to her training. She's expected to compete in the City Open in Washington, D.C. later on this month, and then the U.S. Open. Talk about some morning motivation, right?
Yes,
she is just incredible, and I know she is going to have a remarkable career ahead of her, that's for sure.
Oh, I agree, Carly. And speaking of motivation,
okay,
we have some nice sunrise photos.
All right, we like that.
So that's giving us some Sunday motivation out there. And here's a look at your 7-day forecast.
Jennifer, thank you. Face the Nation is coming up at 10:30 here on CBS 4, and moderator Margaret Brennan joins us live from the Washington, D.C. studio. Good morning, Margaret. Tell us, what are you working on today?
Well, good morning to you, Carly. President Trump continues to double down, as he often does this morning as well, continuing to attack the so-called squad, those 4 Democratic congresswomen who he has been trading barbs with all week. We will speak to one of the very top Republicans in the House, Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney, about how comfortable fellow Republicans are with this fight and the racist tweets, what they have done to rhetoric this week alone in the political space. We'll also speak to California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff. He will help lead questioning this week when the House Intelligence Committee members get to ask Bob Mueller, the special counsel, exactly what happened during that 2-year-long investigation into Russian election meddling. We'll also speak to one of the many 2020 Democratic contenders, Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey.
Margaret, thank you for that preview. Certainly a lot of ground to cover this morning. Remember, Face the Nation kicks off at 10:30 a.m. only here on CBS 4. And still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, it's a foodie's no-brainer. Anyone visiting Miami has to try a Cuban sandwich, right? But we've never seen a sandwich cubano quite like this one. Lisa Petrillo takes us to Chugs and an all-new Taste of the Town up next. And CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It is time now for an all-new edition of Taste of the Town. A celebrated Miami chef opens his second eatery in Coconut Grove, just down the street from his first restaurant. But this one is all about the food and the flavors that he grew up with. CBS 4's Lisa Petrillo takes us inside the kitchen at Chugs.
CBS 4 News. Wow.
If you want to check it out, Chugs is located at 3444 Main Highway in Coconut Grove. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, we have an update on that breaking news out of Deerfield Beach. That's where a Broward Sheriff's Office deputy has been killed in an on-duty crash. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Carly Barnett. It is 8:30, and here's what we're working on right now. We're following breaking news this morning. A Broward Sheriff's deputy is dead after a crash in Deerfield Beach. What we're learning now. And marking the 50th anniversary of the first man on the moon, we are in Cape Canaveral for this anniversary, meeting some of the people who made it all happen as we get a glimpse of the future of space travel. And from the moon to the sun. It's coming up on this Sunday morning, but will we see that sunshine all day, or will some showers get in the way of our Sunday fun day? To answer those questions, we will send it over now to meteorologist Jennifer Correa. Jennifer, it looks like you have some beautiful photos behind you.
I do, Carly. So we are starting off much drier than we did yesterday morning. Although yesterday's sunrise was still gorgeous, well, today even more so with some nice clouds in the distance. Beautiful photo taken by Sandra Booth in Lauderdale by the Sea. Bart Cusale, Fort Lauderdale, taking us a wide view of those blue skies, some clouds in the distance. But overall, it is a mostly dry start. And here's now a live view out of the CBS 4 camera here in Doral. No rain out there, but there's rain approaching the Middle Keys. Some showers redeveloping, and I think they'll hold together. So beware. Duck Key, Marathon, and the 7 Mile Bridge will be dealing with some rain pretty soon, maybe in the next 45 minutes to an hour. Humid and warm today. Otherwise, we're expecting the spotty thunderstorms, but not until later this afternoon. Highs today, 90 degrees.
Jennifer, thank you. Let's get right to that update on our breaking news out of Deerfield Beach, where a BSO deputy is dead after an on-duty crash. We have a live look at the scene right now. This is near Military Trail and Southwest 10th Street.
The BSO deputy, as well as the pickup truck driver, they were transported to Broward Health North Hospital. Unfortunately, the BSO deputy died from the injuries he sustained in the crash. The pickup truck driver, I'm told he was stabilized and his injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening.
That is the Broward Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer, Kayla Concepcion. The crash happened around 3 this morning. This is what it looked like shortly after. BSO says the deputy, who has been with the office for about a year now, was responding to a domestic call. It's not clear whether he had lights and sirens on. The person in the other car survived and was taken to the hospital, and we will bring you more details just as soon as we receive them.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Engine turboprop, it's light.
And liftoff. 50 years after a small step for man.
Look at that. This morning, a rocket carrying an Italian, American, and Russian astronaut, or cosmonaut, is on its way now to the International Space Station. The timing of the launch was just coincidental with the Apollo 11 moon landing. Speaking of which, 50 years ago, our universe got just a little bit smaller when Neil Armstrong took that giant leap for mankind and set foot on the moon. Vice President Mike Pence was in Cape Canaveral to talk about the legacy of Apollo 11. He also highlighted the Trump administration's commitment to go to the moon, Mars, and beyond. CBS 4's Ty Russell was there, and he spoke with 2 key members of the team that put man on the moon.
2 people who played a key role in the Apollo 11 mission are sharing their stories with CBS 4 this morning.
We have a look now at some of the other stories that are making headlines this Sunday morning. A man accused of assaulting and robbing women at gunpoint in South Florida hotels has now been arrested. 26-year-old Shane Bain was taken into Miami-Dade County Jail yesterday. Officers say he robbed the women after agreeing to meet them and is accused of sexually assaulting at least one of them. He is also charged with sexual battery with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. He's being held without bond. Officers are searching this morning for a man they say busted into a motel room in Hollywood and then robbed the person inside. The victim was hit in the head during a struggle over their wallet. This all happened Friday night along South Federal Highway. Hollywood police are looking for this suspect, who they say may have a gun. He has a scar on his upper back and tattoos on both arms. It's time now for Mentoring Matters, where we profile people in our community who step up to help young people become productive adults. This morning's story is a prime example of how a mentor can change someone's life. CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez spent some time with Brendan and Arturo and shares their story.
You know, the way you choked. Thank you.
Maribel Rodriguez, CBS 4 News.
Brendan is now working on an hour-long documentary. His goal is to get a job as a full-time editor and become more self-sufficient. Well, we wish him the best of luck. If you'd like to become a mentor, just go to cbsmiami.com/mentoringmatters. There's a whole list of organizations there you can get involved with. And we want to hear more about the mentors in your life. Email us at mentoringmatters@cbs.com. And still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, if we said it wasn't highly anticipated, we'd be lying. The new Lion King is in theaters now. When we come back, we meet the Cubs. Lisa Petrillo speaks with some of the film's youngest stars. Welcome back. It's 8:42. Oh, I could bust out singing Circle of Life right now, but don't worry, I'm going to spare you. This is actually not the beginning of The Lion King, though it looks like it. It's a shot from Chopper 4 from earlier in the week. But The Lion King is back with an all-star cast. We'll leave the singing up to them. It's one of the summer's most anticipated movies. CBS 4's Lisa Petrillo sat down with the 2 young stars who play some of the most famous and adorable lion cubs to ever hit the big screen.
CBS 4 News.
Well, speaking of some beautiful sunrises that we just saw at the beginning of that clip, we have some this morning as well.
We do, and less rain too. Actually, more sunshine to start off. So we're going to start off with those viewer photos sent in to us. This one by Melissa Gessner out at Hollywood Beach. All that sun beaming over the water and over the sand. And so it is just calling our name to go out to the beach today. If you want to head out to the beach, the earlier the better, because by this afternoon we do expect some thunderstorms. Here is Rise and Shine, beautiful, spectacular sunrise. I can't get enough of those clouds in the shades of pinks and oranges. This one taken by Myrna Rodriguez. Now, we are starting off at this hour with temperatures basically in the upper 70s and the low 80s, except Marathon already warming up to the mid 80s. Winds are still calm for much of Broward and Dade, if not just light out there. And meanwhile, for the Keys, out of the east-southeast up to 10 miles per hour. So we do have some activity popping up on real-time Doppler, and it's mainly near the Keys. That's where we have those areas of of showers. They seem to have weakened, but I wouldn't rule out some of this redeveloping again. The Keys looks like we'll be getting the action first, then Miami-Dade and Broward later on this afternoon. I say by noon, between noon and 2 p.m. That's when we'll start to see more of those showers and thunderstorms quickly developing across the area. But today it could happen along the East Coast, and at the same time it could happen inland areas. So I don't want to rule out a thunderstorm along the beach for us this afternoon. There is an area that we're watching in the tropics. You see the clouds bubbling up. That is a tropical wave, has a low chance for development in the next 5 days. But either way, whether it develops or not, this is going to bring us thunderstorms for the start of the work week, especially by Tuesday and midweek, as well as it moves along westward over that high pressure system in the Atlantic. Here's a look at the moisture forecast. So tropical moisture will be enhanced with that wave as it approaches South Florida and the Bahamas as well by later Monday into Tuesday. That's why I think Tuesday we do expect the wettest day, because at the same time the flow will be coming in from the south, so that's really going to enhance the moisture. Highs today 90 degrees, and then carry the rain gear with you because we're going to need it throughout the first half of the work week. Rain should start to lighten up for us by Thursday and Friday.
Jennifer, thank you. And still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, the Marlins hope to contain the Dodgers in Game 2 of their series. Plus, a blood drive at Hard Rock Stadium gets some support from Kendrick Norton and head coach Brian Flores. Sports anchor Mike Cunio joins us next. It's time now for Heroes Among Us. Every week in partnership with the Florida Panthers, we put the spotlight on a hero among us, men or women who have gone beyond the call of duty for our country. This morning, CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez introduces us to World War II veteran Morris Chick Chase.
Sergeant Chase served from 1943 to 1945. CBS 4 this morning.
CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. But first, these are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck, everyone. Final check now of our breaking news from Deerfield Beach, where a BSO deputy is dead after an on-duty crash. We have a live look at the scene right now. This is near Military Trail and Southwest 10th Street.
The BSO deputy, as well as the pickup truck driver, they were transported to Broward Health North Hospital. Unfortunately, the BSO deputy died from the injuries he sustained in the crash. The pickup truck driver, I'm told he was stabilized and his injuries are believed to be non-life-threatening.
The crash happened around 3 this morning. This is what it looked like shortly after the accident. BSO says the deputy, who has been with the office for about a year now, was responding to a domestic call. It's not clear if he had his sirens and lights on. The person in the other vehicle survived and again taken to the hospital. We will continue to have updates all day on CBSMiami.com. Well, before we head out this morning, Jennifer has another look at our Sunday forecast.
Well, we're starting off drier, so you want to head out to the beach. Here's a look at that forecast. Head out early, head out now, because then we'll have those passing storms later on this afternoon. No advisories for boaters. Just keep out for those thunderstorms this afternoon that could develop over the ocean. For the work week, we need the rain gear, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to get quite stormy due to that wave.
All right, and today happens to be National Ice Cream Day, so I say that's a good reason to enjoy it. That does it for CBS 4 this Sunday morning, and CBS Sunday Morning is next. We thank you for joining us, and have a great day.